There are moments in life when laughter finds you in the most unexpected places. For me, one of those moments happened in the back of an ambulance. After several confusing and frightening days at Royal Jubilee Hospital, the doctors decided I need to be transferred to BC Women's Hospital in Vancouver. I didn't know exactly what was wrong with my pregnancy yet, only that something was serious enough to send me to a specialized hospital. The paramedics arrived with calm confidence that immediately put me at ease. They introduced themselves carefully, secured me into the stretcher, and explained what would happen during the trip. Their relaxed personalities were exactly what I needed after days filled with uncertainty. As we pulled onto the highway, it became obvious this wasn't going to be a quick ride. Traffic had come to a standstill. Brake lights stretched endlessly ahead of us. The cars barely crept forward. I looked over at the paramedic sitting beside me and asked, "How long is this going to take?" He glanced out the window and shrugged. "At this pace, probably close to 4 hours." 4 hours. After everything, 4 hours? After everything that had already happened, 4 more hours felt like an eternity. Then he looked towards the driver. "You think we should?" he said. The driver looked in the rearview mirror for a second before asking, "Are you up for it?" The paramedic turned back at me with a grin. "How about you? Are you up for a little excitement?" I had absolutely no idea what he meant. But after days of pain, unanswered questions, and worrying about my baby, I was desperate for anything that wasn't another frightening medical conversation. I smiled and said, "Hell yeah, let's do it." He laughed, looked towards the front of the ambulance and said, "Let's go." A split second later, the sirens came on. The familiar wail echoed through the ambulance as the driver gently steered onto the highway shoulder. Suddenly, we were flying past hundreds of stopped vehicles. Cars quickly moved aside. Drivers looked over, wondering who's inside the Drivers looked over, wondering who inside the ambulance needed help so desperately. Little did they know the patient inside the back was having the time of her life. I couldn't stop laughing. The stress I'd been carrying for days disappeared, if only for a few minutes. The paramedic looked over at me. "You doing okay back there?" I laughed. I'm more than okay," I said. For those few precious moments, I forgot about hospitals. I forgot about ultrasounds. I forgot about diagnosis I still didn't have. I wasn't thinking about what would happen when we reached Vancouver. I was simply enjoying the ride. The paramedics joked with each other. They kept checking on me. They somehow managed to turn what could have been one of the longest, most stressful journeys of my life into something unforgettable. Looking back now, I realize they gave me far more than transportation. They gave me something I desperately needed: hope. Not because they had answers. Not because they could promise everything would be okay. but because they reminded me that even in the middle of fear, it's still possible to laugh. Eventually, we pulled into BC Women's Hospital. The ride was over. Reality was waiting. As they helped me out of the ambulance, I looked at the paramedic who had stayed with me the entire trip. "Thank you," I said. "I really needed that." He smiled knowingly. "Sometimes," he said, "a little excitement is exactly what the doctor ordered." I walked through those hospital doors, still carrying all the uncertainty that had brought me there. But I was carrying something else too. A little more courage. Because sometimes the people who make the biggest difference in our lives aren't the ones who perform the surgeries or deliver the diagnosis. Sometimes they're the ones who simply know when someone needs a reason to smile. That ambulance ride lasted less than an afternoon. The memory has stayed with me for decades. If you've ever had someone unexpectedly lift your spirits during one of the hardest seasons of your life, I'd love to hear your story. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness become the memories we carry forever. Thank you for listening to Still Living Well. Until next time, remember this: no matter what chapter you're living, there is always hope, there is always strength, and you are never walking the journey alone.